Today, very special view from the pew. Betty and Richard Odgaard in the house. And if you don't know their story, it's the Gortz Haus in Grimes, Iowa. We'll be back and tell you that in just a minute.
Welcome to The View from a Pew, a conversation among Christians who are out to grow their faith by asking the simple questions, the tough questions, and the stuff you really wish your pastor would talk about. Come on now, let's reason together. It's your voice we want to hear. The phone lines are open, so join the conversation. Call 244-0077. That's 244-0077. Now, here's your host, J. Michael McCoy.
Thank you very much. 4 minutes after the hour, and I appreciate you spending your time listening today. If you're listening live, thank you very much. If you're listening to a podcast, I appreciate you. There are millions of choices you have to listen or watch, and you've chosen to do this one. And we appreciate that. This is a very special show for me. I fell in love with these people about a couple years ago when Betty called me, and you remember that story exactly? I had come in 4 or 5 years ago, and I'd given you a card, see if you were interested in selling a piece of property. And if I recall, you woke up one morning and my name was on your heart.
That's right.
And we hadn't met other than that 10 seconds that I was in your business, and you weren't a listener. There was no reason why my name would come up, but for some reason God was knocking my name on your door.
Well, I read your long card. You had a lot of good things to say on your card.
The only 6-page business card you'll ever get. Frank, if you hang around long enough, I'll get you one too.
I've got one.
Oh, okay.
But I knew I needed a mentor because of what we had gone through, and your name was top on the list, and I thought, well, I'll just call him and give him a try.
Yeah, and nobody recommended me.
No.
Just Jesus.
Yep, that's right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then Betty and I learned that we had a past. We both lived in the same hometown for a while, but I don't think we'd ever figured out whether it was at the same time, because I left there in 77.
Right.
So I was there from 59 to 77.
And that's about the time I hit town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we knew a lot of the same people. We could walk up and down Main Street.
Yeah.
And Richard, her husband, and Betty, 13 years ago, bought was it a Lutheran church?
Lutheran church.
Lutheran church in Grimes.
St. Peter Lutheran.
And turned it into a marvelous place where people could display their artwork. People could bring in their homemade jewelry and things like that. They could also rent this beautifully restored church for a wedding or bar mitzvah or some type of event like that. And you also served a wonderful, what I would call a light and healthy meal.
That's a good way to describe it.
I mean, because I get full when I come there, and it's hard for me to get full.
Yeah.
But like you have wraps and quiche and
we have homemade soups and salads and sandwiches.
Bake our own bread.
Yeah, and for those of you now, here's a test for the true Germans out there. They have Semmel. Now I don't need to explain what that is because I'm not even sure I could. I just know as a child, my grandmother Penner, this was the German side, we'd all get together and she'd pull out this big bowl, huge bowl, and she'd put some stuff in there, and then we'd pass that bowl around, and with a wooden spoon, we'd what would you call it? Fold it.
Yeah.
And we'd get air in it. We'd get air in it. And we'd do this, Frank, hundreds and hundreds of times per person. All right.
I didn't realize you got into the baking of it as well. Yeah.
Oh,
like freezing ice cream. You shared the work. Huh?
Yeah.
That's why you have carpal tunnel.
Yeah. And we'd pass that big bowl around. And I'm talking, guys, what is that? Is that 2 foot in diameter? This is a big bowl.
Probably a big Tupperware bowl.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you'd leave it out overnight, and it would raise. Okay. And you had to use warm milk and yeast and flour, and I used poppy seeds. Yeah, and that's it.
Yep. Really? Yep.
And I remember that the temperature of the milk was crucial to the point when you added the yeast.
That's right. It's actually a Mennonite roll. It came from it's an ethnic roll. Yeah.
And it's like Swiss cheese. It has holes in it, and that's the air that gets put in there. And when I eat it with a piece of red cheese, some honey, and some butter. And it's just, you got to go out there sometime. Just have but Semmel.
We bake them fresh every day.
With an S. Semmel with an S.
Semmel, but it's spelled
Semmel.
Yeah. Right. And see, for some reason, here's what I heard as a kid. Did I ever tell you what we called them? We called them Zammo. And I'm sure my grandmother said Semmel.
Yeah.
But I, as a kid, heard Zammo.
Well, she probably had a little bit of a German accent.
Yeah, so I kept waiting for the Zammo, and we had it Frank, we'd have it every year for Christmas.
Well, you know how to eat Semmel right. I just put peanut butter and jelly on mine.
Well, that's okay, though.
That's good.
That's okay. So if you've missed from your youth the Semmel, they have it at the Gortz Haus, open Monday through Saturday.
That's right.
Lunch and dinner. All right.
Just lunch.
Just lunch, sorry. Just lunch. So here's this wonderful couple, loving Jesus, fulfilling not only a passion in art and jewelry and good food, but also a ministry and providing a place for people to come and who maybe don't belong to a denomination or don't belong to a church, but they want to get married in a church. And, of course, if you're not a member of a church, that's kind of hard to do. And over the years, hundreds of weddings and other events were held in the Gortz Haus.
That's right.
Until one day, tell me about that day. Who met the couple first?
Okay. I had just happened to go home, luckily. I think that God had that all in the plans because Dick was the one who talked with this couple. And we knew that we had somebody interested in hosting a wedding and a reception there. We just didn't know who it was because we had emailed and corresponded through email. And so they came, Dick showed them around and suspected that they probably were getting married to each other. And when he asked them that question, he said, "We cannot host that wedding here. We're sorry." And the rest is history.
Do you think you were set up, Dick?
No.
No?
We don't think so. We did learn after the fact that they had already been married. But they identified this as a wedding and reception, so they wanted to have a public ceremony of some sort. So,
okay. But you don't think you were targeted?
I didn't feel that at the time. No.
Do you feel that now?
No.
Okay.
I feel that they could have gone away quietly and got married somewhere else, and that definitely was on their agenda then after it happened to set us up.
And do you remember their names? I mean, will you share their names with me? Can you do that, or would you rather not? I'm okay if you don't.
I'll have to dig it out of my notes here.
I know their names are Lee and Jared, their first names.
Lee and Jared.
Can't tell you what their last names are.
Okay.
That's close enough.
Yeah. Did they get huffy, offended, walk away quietly?
It put them back on their heels, somewhat of a surprise. That when they came in, it was a very busy day, and I was close to the cash register where people were transacting their business, and so I couldn't speak openly as much as I couldn't ask the critical question before, quicker than I did. So I got into a conversation with him, asked him. There was only one of those fellows that talked, that spoke to me. So when it got to the point, I just had to find out before we carried it on any further. So I just asked, and but they did seem very surprised, and maybe they thought I was, they thought they were in a comfortable place and that sort of thing. So my bad if I let them on too long, but I let them on because I wanted a more appropriate time to ask the question.
Yeah, not in front of a big public thing. Yeah. And do you remember their response?
They asked me to repeat what I said, and they just left.
Just walked out.
They just walked out. Mm-hmm.
And how did you feel at that moment?
Not good.
Okay.
I felt bad that I had to do it.
Okay.
But I felt empowered that I did it. We knew what our response was going to be. This wasn't our first experience with a same-sex couple coming in. So we'd already been on this, been at this ball game. So we knew what our answer was going to be, and it's never good. But unfortunately, our dear state of Iowa has put us in this position where we can't conduct our business to our faith.
Okay, now hold on, back up. Mm-hmm. Dick and Betty Odgaard, our guests, they own the Gortz Haus in Grimes, and this was 3 years ago?
It was August 3rd, 2013.
So it'll be 2 years this August.
It was a Saturday.
All right. You said the great state of Iowa, or our great state of Iowa. What did they do that caused you so much problem?
Well, we're in a situation where two statutes have come together to take us out of to force us to act against our faith while we're in business. The first one is in 2007 with the pardon me while I pause. I'm trying to think. It's the civil rights thing when the gay gender became part of the protected group
Civil
of people.
Liberties Union. Protected class.
They're the protected class.
In 2007, that's when
Equal protection clause.
Equal protection clause in our.
And then when was the next one?
The next one is in 2008. 2009, when the Supreme Court justices ruled same-sex marriage not illegal.
In Iowa.
Yeah. No.
Iowa Supreme Court, same-sex marriage is legal. Right?
And at that time, we had a couple come in, and the very next day, and that was in 2009, and ask us for a wedding ceremony then, and we turned them down. So that was 5 years prior to this one, and we thought at that time we'd get sued because they were very upset. We tried to explain, I just remember them going down the stairs and saying, "It's nothing personal. It's not about you at all. It's just that because of our Christian faith, we just can't have the holy vows said in our establishments." So we thought we would get sued at that time. And Dick wrote a letter to the Attorney General, and then our representative, Eric Haaland, also helped us with that a bit to do a little bit of research to find out what we would be liable for. And the Attorney General said, yes, indeed, you could be sued. So for 5 years, we kind of held our breath, just kind of waiting for the next shoe to drop.
Any other inquiries from same-sex couples?
One on the phone, never amounted to anything. So that is it in 5 years.
If you could go back, well, let me ask this question. I'll ask that question later. That's more of a closing question because I want to hear more of what you've been through because this is a lot more than a lawsuit. This is a life-changing event.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Your lives are completely different than they were 2 years ago this coming August. Your business has been boycotted by so many groups, even churches who have supposedly should be standing with you and in your season of trouble beside you, and yet they didn't. Percentage-wise, how far did your business drop after this happened?
It's kind of hard.
Well, from a profit standpoint, it dropped substantially because holding weddings was our higher profit income stream. Walk-in business for lunches, that sort of thing, is a good barometer, and I would say it dropped a good 30%.
Okay.
Maybe 40%, Mac.
Yeah, it was very noticeable.
Yeah.
Did anybody ever come up and tell you that they're not going to come to your business anymore?
Oh, yes. We got a lot of phone calls. Nobody ever came in person.
It's always anonymous.
A lot of phone calls, though. We've loved your place up till now, but we will. It's hateful what you did, so we will never come back in your door. Yes.
All right, we're going to take our first break. The verse, Frank, is waiting to jump in here. I can see his bated breath. In fact, you should use some scope, babies. He's hot on this topic. This is a topic that he's passionate about, and when we come back, I'm going to let him preach a little bit, and then I want to go back to the story, and I want to find the pain that lives within this amazing couple that they went through day after day after day after they were abandoned by friends and family and church members. They were betrayed by people that they thought they could trust. Finally, somebody from God came from Washington, D.C. and helped them out, and now they're on an amazing journey. And we'll share that with you, too, when we get done. I'm J. Michael McCoy. It's View from the Pew on The Truth.
from the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back if you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places. Especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart. And it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you.
If you sit in the back pew or the front pew, it's your voice we want to hear. The phone lines are open, so call 244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
Welcome back. 21 minutes after the hour on webcast1live.com. I want to remind you, on April 14th, 2015, the Screw Tape Letters will be a play performed by a New York Broadway play company. It will be at C.Y. Stevens Auditorium in Ames. Tickets are on sale now. If you've never seen the Screw Tape Letters, I would strongly encourage you to come see them. Now, you're not going to laugh out loud very often at this play. And to be honest with you, it might leave you a little disturbed on the inside, as it should. You sit before the accuser himself as he explains to you how he baffles our minds and plays with us constantly and tries to trick us into doing fleshy things that are against our Creator and our Savior. But it is a play that I think you'll be convicted on the way out the door that you're in the right seat next to Jesus. It's the Screw Tape Letters, C.Y. Stevens Auditorium in Ames. Day before tax day, day before my birthday, April 14th, 2015. Strongly encourage you to go see that. I'll be there. All right, Frank, the verse is in, and a very special show today. Betty and Richard Odgaard. I'm sorry. I'm terrible with names.
It's okay.
I can't even pronounce his last name.
She had it on the first shot.
Holverhauser?
Holzhauser.
Holzhauser?
Yep.
That sounds like two last names. All right. Anyway, 13 years ago, they bought a Lutheran church that the Lutherans had moved out of it and built a brand new building in Grimes, Iowa. And Betty pursued her passion of painting and jewelry making and other creative things and built this incredible little restaurant that had very good, healthy food, nothing fried, everything homemade, a delightful place to go for coffee or tea. And they opened it up. And it was very successful. It was very good addition to the community. And as time went by, more and more people chose to have wedding receptions and weddings there because it is a very well preserved church. And then on August 3rd of 2013, a same-sex couple walked in, Lee and Jared, and asked if they could have their wedding reception there, even though they were already married illegally in the state of Iowa. And Dick said, I'm sorry, that's against our religion. It's against what we believe. It's against our faith. And little did they know they were breaking two statutes of law that our lawmakers had ignorantly and maliciously made. Really, I'm very upset about those two laws. They put people like you and I, people of faith, in a very, very difficult position. Freedom of religion went down the tubes when the state of Iowa passed these two bills in 2007 and 2008 or 9. And that was basically making a gay couple a protected class, and I could not say, I'm sorry, I won't do business with you. Now, if you're a shoe business and a gay couple walks in and wants to buy shoes, I don't know, give them some shoes. If you're a car business and you got a car, all right, you sell them a car. What do you need to do? But when you have a church that had been standing for almost 100 years, and you offer this sanctuary of salvation where Jesus lives to marry and provide that ceremony of covenants between two people, a man and a woman, as it's intended in the Bible, the devil's going to come after you all day long. And that day, he began his work on Betty and Dick. I know that you and I talked about this, Betty, a few years ago, shortly after it happened. And part of the thing that was so painful for you were the people who just walked away from you.
The customers that we lost?
Friends,
yes.
People in the community.
Yes, friends and family were in disagreement with us. And they thought we were hateful. Not the family, but friends, former friends and customers that had been ongoing customers. And a lot of them, I just know that they don't disagree with us, or that they don't agree with us just because they haven't come back. They were regulars. I know there was a lot of people that came every week, and I never saw their face again. So that really hurts.
And a lot of phone mail or phone calls and letters. A lot of phone calls,
a lot of emails, and they got our address. There were hateful things that came directly to our house.
Like what?
Just telling us how awful we were for having done this. How could you, even from fellow Christians, that was the most baffling part. Fellow Christians who think, why are you really showing them the love of Jesus by turning them away? Wouldn't it have been better to let them go ahead and get married there and then just witness to them when they're there? And, you struggle with that a little bit. And, it came down to one day I just, you think about what would Jesus do? And yes, Jesus would have loved on them. He would have been wonderful and treated them wonderfully, but he would not have taken part in the wedding.
No.
The wedding ceremony. He would not have married them.
Well, they may be married in the eyes of the state, but they're not married in God's court.
That's right.
And I would say that I won't be so kind to the movement because I think they're misogamists. Misogamist is described in Webster's dictionary as those who hate marriage. They don't add to or strengthen the institution. In fact, my conviction is there's no better way to destroy the image of God in man than to weaken the obligations and lessen the sacredness of the holy institution of marriage. I mean, these people they've been preaching tolerance, how tolerant they are. But you're not feeling that tolerance, are you?
Not at all. Not at all.
In fact, it sounds like you're incurring their wrath. I would almost say, I would probably disagree with Dick a little bit. I think you were probably targeted because they're targeting cake makers, photographers, pastors. They're trying to force pastors to marry them, and they would like marriage counseling. And pastors, unless they just toss in the towel on this, how are they going to, in good conscience, give marriage counseling to two people they know shouldn't be married?
Well,
That's
Frank,
exactly right.
there are several church organizations and pastors that are throwing in the towel.
Yeah, we just had one here. I think he was a Methodist pastor that then they kicked him out of the Senate.
Yeah.
Was that right?
Yeah.
Here in town?
And there's a lot of things out there that you don't hear about. The slow infiltration of that ideology into the churches.
Is it their bottom line, their financial, butts in the pews they're worried about?
No,
or is it?
No, it's Christian tolerance and a little bit of ignorance, not being able to look forward and see what the implications of all this is.
Do you feel that
all
you
about.
can love the homosexual and still hold up traditional marriage?
Yes.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for those of you that have listened to me for years and years and years, I used to rail on the homosexuals. My first argument was you weren't born that way. Oh, you were born sinful. But you can't say that I was born sinful and therefore you have to say that sin's acceptable. It's still a sin. And I would tell the story of someone who went to their mom and dad and said, I want to fly. Is it okay with you if I fly? And mom and dad say, oh, we love you no matter what. And then they go to the city and say, hey, I'd like to fly. Are you okay if I fly? And the city said, well, sure, we'll give you a certificate of flying. And then you go to the state and you go to your church and you go to wherever you go and everybody says, well, sure, go ahead and fly. And one day you climb to the top of the principal building and you jump off. And a few seconds later, you're a spot in the blacktop because you made it up. It's not possible for you to fly. God didn't create someone to be a homosexual. However, because of the snake in the garden, we are all sinners. And the homosexual movement, which I think their lead guy is the accuser, wants this whole God thing to be flipped on its head and make God unacceptable, unlovable, not tolerant, when in fact he is love by itself and it can't be described any other way. You can't describe God without talking about love, and you can't talk about love without including God, and I challenge you to that. Do I feel bad for that couple, Jared and Lee? Yeah, I do. We're all sinners. We all have our poison. Mine's alcohol. I have pushed it away. I used it for 16 years. I pushed it away. I've been sober for almost 5 years now, and there are days when I want to drink. Not because I'm feeling low. Maybe I'm feeling happy and I want to celebrate. Something cool has happened. I want a gin and vodka martini with a blue cheese olive. But I don't, because I understand that one drink is too many and 11's not enough. And the sinful nature that comes into me when I drink like that doesn't honor Jesus. And whatever your sinful nature is, you don't do that, or you do it the least you can and repent when you do, because you know you weren't created that way. But this movement, this godless movement, covers our land like a dark silt falling from the sky, and it chokes the oxygen, which is love, out of everything. And what Betty and Dick have gone through is an example of how horrible that accuser can be to tolerant, loving, Christ-following people. Now, your lawsuit has been settled, right?
Right.
And I'm going to be a little sarcastic. So the opinions that I'm about to say do not reflect Richard and Betty. But I just thought it was funnier than heck, the money that you had to pay these two guys. you would think that the fine would have been hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars for this incredible, horrible thing you had done to them. But what was the fine?
Right. Well, they wanted 10, but our attorneys negotiated it down to 5
million?
Thousand.
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 Yes.
1,000.
Yep.
Right.
You don't need to say any more. Frank, I'm just going to... That's hilarious, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a joke.
I mean, if I was Lee and Jared, I would be so embarrassed that the judge thought this was only worth lawyers' fees.
That's why it tells me that it was a premeditated act to go after these people, because why such a mere pittance of money?
Well, in the beginning, they said it wasn't even about money.
That's right.
Yeah. And, all they wanted for us to do was to post a sign saying that now we welcome gay marriage and we will, host every gay marriage that comes along. And it wasn't about money at all. But when they couldn't change our minds, then they decided to fine us.
Well, Dick, you mentioned a little while ago the Equal Protection Clause that was designed to address the grievances of the black community over slavery, and it got hijacked to something that I don't think has anything to do with what Harry Blackman under LBJ started it to mean, but it would be like Mac or I deciding that we want to be pregnant. As men, we can't. It's impossible. And it's impossible for 2 men to be married. It's too impossible for 2 women.
All right, the verse is here. Betty and Richard Odgaard.
Yes.
From the Gortz Haus.
Gortz Haus.
Gortz Haus. Gee, Merry Christmas. It's a good
You'll
thing
get
my
it right.
name. My name is only one initial, J, and there's no other way to say it. So my mother knew that I was incompetent. We'll continue this story and tell you the happy side that comes out of this, because Jesus always comes and he puts his arms around us and he says, "I love you and you're doing great." That part's next.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs,
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money-back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
If you sit in the back pew or the front pew, it's your voice we want to hear. The phone lines are open, so call 244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
22 minutes before the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News at 4, and then 4:03 True Blue with Michael Mudloff and Chris Roloff from Westkirk Presbyterian Church in Urbandale. Through the Veil Prayer Conference. Ladies, listen up. This is Central Iowa's Women's Prayer Conference. It is coming up at the Gortz Haus on the 28th of March, so it's coming up here in just a couple of weeks. 4 to 6 o'clock in the evening. Let me give you the website, because that's what I really need to give you so you can look it up for yourself. The number 3 angels at mac.com. The number 3 angels, so HIS 3 ANGELS at mac.com. If you could put that up on the screen, I'd appreciate that. And if you're watching this past the 28th of March, still go to that website and look it up, because they will have other events going on. This happens to be the Central Iowa Women's Prayer Conference, reaching across denominational lines and uniting the body of Christ through love and prayer. And that'll be coming up again on Saturday, the 28th, 4 to 8 p.m. Registration and arrival from 3:30 to 4. Women with a heart to pray for our families, churches, state, and nation. Light snack and refreshments are provided. So check them out. There's the website on the web. There's the web address on my webcast. Wow, a lot of webbing in there. Where's the ducks? HIS 3 ANGELS at mac.com. Check that out and see if that's something that you want to be a part of. Richard and Betty Odgaard are here, and they have been the proud owners of the Gortz Haus for 13 years and hosted multiple weddings and other events, along with serving lunch on a daily basis, having a place where homemade art from local artists is displayed, some beautiful art. Some jewelry, homemade jewelry, knickknacks. Oh no, they're not called knickknacks. I call them knickknacks, and my wife says they're something else that you put in your house. Home decor. That's right.
Figurines.
Yeah, they're knickknacks. Honey, what's that knickknack's name? It's not a knickknack. It's decor. It's tastefully chosen to meet. Accessories. There's another good word. So you should just check them out. They're right there on the main street in Grimes. You can't miss it on the south side of the street. Big sign out front. Now,
Big Stone Church.
Yeah, beautiful church. The way I met these guys is CJ and I were thinking about buying an old church and turning it into a home. And we had heard that your place was awesome. And I think initially you were a little offended by me.
Not at all.
Come on.
Oh, heavenly days. Not at all,
She
Mac.
wasn't she?
I wasn't there, man.
She probably came home and said, this jerk with a 6-page business card wanted to buy the church and turn it into a home. A den of thieves. But you guys have really done a good job. Beautifully restored. Or maybe is that why you found the way you found it, or have you done a lot to it?
It was in good condition.
It really is beautiful. All the stained glass is there.
From the day we took possession, we did a 100-day remodel.
Okay.
That included 55 gallons of paint and a lot of scraping of glue off the floor.
Yeah.
Because the carpet was glued down. So, and then a lot of plumbing and wiring and that sort of thing. But 100 days, we had our ducks in a row when we took possession. So
it was beautiful.
Yeah.
We knew what we were going to do with every square inch of it before the day that we moved in.
Yep.
Yeah. You what?
We
prayed
knew
over it.
Well, yes, we prayed over it. Yes.
But you also knew what you were going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool. It's a beautiful place. I hope you go there sometime and try the seafood wrap with the Zemmel roll with honey and cheese and butter. And what's that soup I like that you never make anymore?
Oh, the tomato basil soup.
That is just a killer.
Oh, we make it. We make it.
I know. You just never make it when I'm there. Yeah. You need to call me ahead of time when you're going to have that so that I can come in and have it. Really is good food. All right. So on August 3rd of 2013, a young same-sex couple who were already married, by the way, in the state of Iowa, Lee and Jared, came in, and they wanted to lease the facility for their gay wedding. And the Odgaards said, no, it's against our faith. I'm sorry, I can't do that. I mean, I think any one of us might do that in our business or something. But this is particular special to them because this is a house of God. This is not a car dealership where I'll just sell a car to the gay people or I'll do this or do that. And the only thing that I have a problem with is the movement. Lee and Jared, I probably have no problem with them. and the other couples. What I have a problem with is the movement that they fund and they push for, and that is a movement run by Satan. And I know I'll get your hate mail. I really don't care. I've heard it before. But you guys hadn't ever heard that kind of hate mail before.
No.
You made the comment that your Facebook page just blew up. You had to be in tears.
Tears doesn't even describe it, Mac. It about took me out. Dick was a lot stronger. He's a hard-headed Dane, so he took it okay. But it did. One of his comments was, "We have stared Satan in the face."
Yeah,
this was the first time that
alive
we
and
have
well
seen him so vividly. But yes, our Facebook page, we had to take it down. Yes, and to this day we do not have a Facebook page.
What kind of things were said to you?
Just
very adult things we can't say on the air, man.
Yeah,
Okay.
there were some things, some words that you had to even look up.
Yeah.
But I thought, how are they able to say this? They don't even know us.
Yeah.
Because they were so direct and so personal and so hateful that I didn't know that we could be called that for standing up for what we believed was right.
Yeah, it just seems that that's sweeping across the nation right now, though.
Right.
We hear about
Because,
photographers. We hear about cake bakers.
We
our laws,
have friends, and I do want to get this in because we don't have anything against homosexuals. We have gay friends. We have had gay employees, and I would serve them in every other way, and I would love them. So we don't have any animosity towards that community except for what they're doing to us.
Now, their intolerance of your tolerance.
And I want to set that a bit straight. Our laws of our land and our court system is allowing that for that double work to happen, and they have pretty much a free reign.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever happened to no shoes, no shirt, no service? It doesn't exist
get asked
anymore.
that a lot.
They've added to the list.
Yeah.
And now we're being forced, if we want to be in business, the business that we are in, we are forced to celebrate a sin.
Yeah.
That'd be like having a party for your alcoholism or a party for my sins. We don't even think about that.
No.
It's just unconscionable.
Does this building also function as a church?
No,
Not
it is
yet.
truly
We'd
a
like
business.
for it to
We
be.
pay property tax. It's there for profit when we can make a profit. But it's not because of the. If we were in a garage, my response to this couple would have been the very same.
Now,
I do not want to be forced to take part and celebrate a sin, because I don't want people to celebrate my sin. And it's just the way it is.
Well, but you understand that's what's happening in America today. We are celebrating sin.
Yeah.
We are looking for everything that God said we shouldn't do, and the accuser has hijacked our ability to have freedom of and from and for our religion.
Right.
And our faith.
And that hijacking is going deep into our society. It's going deep into our churches, and all the other places of refuge and places that we think we can find support. It's very, very concerning.
They're even helping shutting down the communities that are out there to help kids that would like to get out of this lifestyle.
Yeah, isn't it illegal to send a kid to counseling because of gender misidentification or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah.
Have you noticed that for everything that God has, Satan seems to have a counterfeit? But this is all designed for a minister, if he gets up and has a sermon, hate speech, that'll be followed by hate crime legislation, and you've kind of endured the wrath of this movement, and you've been called all kinds of malicious, hateful things because you're just standing up for your conviction, standing up for God.
That's
Right.
And they're standing up for what they believe in.
They
So
are.
why can't we just shake hands and get along? Well,
It's not good enough, Mac.
we're coming back. Let's put a beautiful cherry on the top of this whipped cream cake and talk about what Betty and Richard are doing now and the ministry that God has put them on, because God takes everything and uses it for good. It's coming up next on The Truth.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places. Especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart. And it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
If you sit in the back pew or the front pew, it's your voice we want to hear. The phone lines are open, so call 244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
All right, Betty and Richard Odgaard are our guests. They own and operate the Gortz Haus, 13 years now. I hope you show a little support for them and call them and tell them if you were in the area, you'd eat there, or if you can come down in the area, drive down and have a little lunch and look at the beautiful artwork and the beautiful church. And let's show our support, because they certainly had a lot of people stop supporting them because of their stance. And it's just, you're being tolerant of their intolerance, and yet you're punished. That's got to just, it's got to be one of those things. Oh, God will explain it to me when I get to heaven. Yes. Now, something good is coming out, and that is the God's Original Design Ministry. And you are going to put up billboards all across the country that says marriage equals one man plus one woman. And they're little stick people with dresses on.
Do you remember the black and white billboards?
Yeah.
Messages from God?
Yeah.
Everybody remembers those.
I love those.
Everybody remembers those. Yeah. And so we hope that these make the same impact.
We tried to find out who did that to give them credit and ask permission to carry it on, but some anonymous donor in Florida.
Let me ask you this. Do you feel persecuted?
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think it goes beyond intolerance. I think it's entering the realm of persecution.
Yeah.
Sure.
The real heartbreaking thing, and Mac touched on the support or lack thereof, there's a lot of people that support us, but they don't want to be seen supporting us.
They're afraid?
Because they have somebody in the family, they have a friend.
By supporting us, they're
that's just ridiculous.
Well, they're afraid to stand out and say anything because they might get persecution as well. And I think
didn't Jesus say, if you follow me, you will be persecuted? He said that on the Sermon on the Mount.
That's right.
He's right.
We see this
He's
now.
Right. Yeah, you've got it firsthand, didn't you, Richard?
Yes. We see this now as a blessing, as something that God has called us to do, and we feel honored that He has actually put us in this position. Yeah. It about took me out, because I didn't want to be on this earth anymore. I mean, my baby, where I had put all my passion in, was destroyed. The Gortz Haus would never be the same again, nor would we. And, for at least the first year, I was whining in the corner. I mean, I just went down. And as things came back and God brought you and you mentored me, helped me see some things, and at time I just began to think differently about all of this, and we are going to take this and use it.
Yeah.
And try to speak out to people other Christians who have been silent for so long, who feel as strongly as we do.
Yeah.
Or perhaps there's Christians who are on the fence about it and not knowing how they feel, but wanting other people to take a stand and get vocal and as loud as we want to be.
And they're talking about their billboard. What a neat business card. The black and white billboards from God, and I looked it up. Keep using my name in vain, and I'll make rush hour longer, was one of them. Another one that I loved is don't make me come down there.
Yeah.
And as my apprentice, you've never fixed anything. Anyway, a lot of good billboards by God that were put out a few years ago, and so you're going to put billboards all around the country.
And Dick has come up with some really good one-liners. I think God gave them to him personally.
Yeah.
But one of them is...
Yeah, we've learned through all this that the solution is not going to be rapid, and it's not going to be found in our judges. The politicians are afraid to touch it. So it's got to come from the hearts and the minds of the public. And our hope and prayer is that these billboards will give the public a knot on the noggin to make them think twice about what they tolerate and what they don't, what's right and what's wrong, what's God's will and what's not. Yeah. And it's got to be done in the privacy of their own car.
Yeah.
It's got to be done quietly.
Yep.
We want to move the 51, 52, 53% of the people that support God and God's original design to 53, 54, 50. We want to move the curve to the right.
Yeah.
And get more people on board. And when that happens, then maybe our politicians will not be so afraid to touch it.
Well, and you guys have been backed by one of the biggest law firms in the country, the Becket Fund.
Beautiful people.
Which comes in and helps folks who are being religiously persecuted. Mm-hmm. And what I loved about the Becket Fund, I loved a lot of things about them, but one of your lawyers was a Mormon.
Yeah.
I mean, how much more Jesus is in there than that?
Yeah.
You know, because there are people out there who are intolerant of Mormons saying they're not a Christian. You know, they're a sect or where they are, whatever they are. And yet here's the Becket Fund coming to the rescue. Did you ever just sit there and think, we're just Betty and Dick?
Oh, yes.
In Little Grimes, Iowa.
Yes. Yeah. And suddenly everybody in the nation was talking about us. It was a little bit intimidating.
Well, but you've gotten to attend a lot of nice things and be honored. You're going again to, what'd you say?
Canterbury dinner in New York City.
New York, yep.
Yes.
And be highlighted and honored there for your strength. And I hope you know that there are millions of people out there who are honoring your strength.
Yes.
They just don't have, I don't know, they don't have what it takes to say it out loud, but it's in their heart.
Yeah.
And I think you hear that in the prayers from those folks.
Yeah. We aren't as organized as our opponent is.
Yeah, right.
And hopefully our effort with the God's Original Design Ministry will give a platform for people from which to speak.
Yeah. Or at least be tent makers and help you fund this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And we also want to shout out, if I may, to Tamara Scott. Because Tamara is a host here. She's a co-host with me on the radio. And I shared with Tamara one day how, can I use the word devastated you were?
Oh, yes.
And Tamara and a friend rolled over to Grimes, I think it was the next day, and prayed with you. And you learned, not that you didn't know before, because you're a preacher's daughter, but you really saw firsthand the power of prayer.
Oh, I did.
Because after Tamara prayed with you, God began to give you the strength to know that he was on your side and you were not fighting a losing battle. In fact, you were fighting the eternal battle that he would win. Because in the end, here's the funny thing. Frank, you've read the book. You know how it ends.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We win.
That's right.
Yes.
So why worry?
Well, that tells me that Christian men and women need to stand up and have a backbone.
Yes.
Push back against society when society is trying to change the definition of our whole dictionary.
Yes.
And
I'll tell you this.
Be advised when you do, you'll be persecuted.
That's right. We will get eggs on our billboards. They will come after us. But, you know, if a little Mennonite girl who was scared to talk in front of anybody can become loud and proud, if I can do this, then other people can too.
Absolutely.
Because I was pretty timid, but I want to shout it from the mountaintops now.
Amen.
Because, yes, God does win in the end.
I love you both. Thank you for allowing me in your life.
Oh,
Thank you for letting me be a part of this broadcast today, and I wish you luck, and I wish you Godspeed, and I wish you all the prayers, and if there's such a thing, your wings just got bigger in heaven.
Aw.
You know they did. You're going to help so many people. People you will never meet will be helped by you.
That's our prayer.
Yep.
Bless you.
Frank's in charge tomorrow. I'm on vacation. Until Monday, I love you too. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and thanks for listening. Couldn't do this job without you, and I love it. Here on The Truth.